Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Felizia Febriani, NPM 19000468. In this video, I will present my thesis writing. The title is The Correlation of Student Vocabulary Learning Strategies and Their Reading Skill at Junior High School One Bayang, South Pesisir. Chapter 1 Introduction. Point A Background of the problem. Reading is an essential skill for language learner. When your reading skill improve, your listening, speaking, writing skill improve too. There are classification of language learning strategies in reading proposed by the expert O'Malley et al. Divide language learning strategies into three main subcategories. The first one is metacognitive strategies, the second one is cognitive strategies, and the last one is socio-affective strategies. And then vocabulary or knowledge rating is a before reading strategies designed to evaluate student prior or background knowledge of a topic or concept. And students are given a list of words related to the topic or concept and rate how well they know each of them. And by Marzano stressed that in all subject area, explicit vocabulary instruction is necessary and outlines a process that can help students learn critical subject-specific vocabulary. Point B, identification of the problem. To identify the existing problems, the researcher observed the English teaching and learning process in the Junior High School One Bayang, South Pesisir, and then interviewed the English teacher. During the observation and interview, the research gains information about source of the problem related to the teaching and learning process of reading in the classroom. The source of the problem fall in the classroom that contribute to the students' low performance in reading are classified into three categories. And then they are the teacher, students, and media. The teacher is the first factor contributing to the students' reading performance, and teacher's technique is providing learning materials and steps in delivery the lesson where the problems affecting the teaching and learning of reading. Point C. Limitation of the problem. Conducting research governing things stated previously by will be very hard and long work and therefore will not be visible for the research. Concerning the limitation that the research has, she is going to conduct this research focusing only on the strategies of student vocabulary learning to improve reading skill of students at Junior High School One Bayang. Point D. Formulation of the problem. The first one is how can strategies of vocabulary learning and their reading skill students at Junior High School One Bayang be improved? The second one is what are the factors that influence learning and vocabulary mastery with the reading skill of students at Junior High School One Bayang? Point E. Hypothesis. The reason is this research over new way and procedure to improve and increase teaching professionalism and teaching learning process in the class by the observing students' condition. Action research is the name give to a series of procedure teacher can aggregate in. Either because they wish to improve aspect and their teaching, or because they wish to evaluate the students and appropriate of certain activities and procedure action research in form of research which is becoming increasingly significant of language condition. Point F. Purpose of the research. The purpose of this study was to examine how many students at Junior High School Wonbayang are good and bad at understanding the vocabulary of what they read. Point G. Significance of the research. This study is expected to be beneficial for the first one is English teacher in Junior High School Wonbayang. The finding of this study hopefully can be a valuable source of information to improve the quality of English teaching and learning process. The second one is other teacher in Junior High School Wonbayang. The finding of this study hopefully becomes one of useful reference used to improve students' learning achievement. The third one is other English teacher. The finding of this study can be reference for other English teacher in solving their problem on how to improve their students' reading skill. And the last one is the finding of this study hopefully become one of the considerable reading materials either to enrich their reference in reading their article or text or to improve their knowledge in English learning process. Point H. Definition of the key terms. The first one is vocabulary. Vocabulary is a set of familiar words within a person's language. A vocabulary usually develops with age, serve as are useful and fundamental tools for communication and acquiring knowledge. And the second one is reading. Reading is the process of taking in the sense or meaning of letter, symbol, age. And the third one is learning. Learning is the process of acquiring new understanding, knowledge, behavior, skill, values, attitude, and preference. Chapter 2. Review of related literature. Point A. Review of related theories. The first one is reading. Definition of reading. In their report, Becoming a Nation of Readers, the report of the Commission on Reading, Anderson, Hibbert, Score, and Wilkinson defines reading and propose 5 principles and with its successful enactment. The first one is reading is a constructive process. The second one is reading must be fluent, and the third one is reading must be strategic, and 4 reading acquires motivation, and the last one is reading is an constitutionally developing skill. In this article, we revise the definition from reading to literacy and reading the principle in response to theoretical and empirical development in the intervening years with regard to the process of and context for reading. There are 6 principles of reading. The first one is encourage students to read as often and as much as possible. And principle 2 is students need to be engaged with the day of reading. And principle 3, encourage students to respond to the context of the text. And principle 4 is prediction is a major factor in reading. Principle 5 is match the text to the topic when using intensive reading. And principle 6 is good teacher encourage reading text to the full. 2 is vocabulary. Definition of vocabulary. There are some definition of vocabulary according some expert. Lindsay that vocabulary is the collection of words that an individual knows. From some definition about vocabulary above, it can be said that vocabulary is the basic elements of language which some needs in learning a language, especially to communicate effectively with others. Moreover, based on all of definition about vocabulary above, the research concludes the vocabulary is the words in a particular language that an individual knows or uses to communicate effectively. The importance of the vocabulary. Vocabulary has important role in English learning. It is one element that links the four skills of speaking, listening, reading, and writing all together. In order to master all those skills, the students need to have good vocabulary mastery. Adequate number of words which is acquired by the students will enable them to master English skill easily. It will be easy for students to communicate their ideas both in written or spoken form and comprehend what people say if they have good vocabulary mastery. Point B. Review of related finding. Many research have examined about vocabulary learning strategies and reading skill. The first one is the research conducted by Karis Munandar. The title is Vocabulary Learning Strategies and Vocabulary Size of the Indonesian high students has found that there was significant correlation between vocabulary learning strategies and vocabulary size of the Indonesian senior high students. And the second finding related to this research proposed by David Brace, and the title is Vocabulary Does Not Complicate the Simple View of Reading. The research suggests that was-found regression modeling indicates that measure of vocabulary do capture small but significant about various in reading comprehension beyond that captured by other oral language measure and decoding measure. Point C. Theoretical framework. This theoretical framework shows that students' vocabulary learning strategies has correlation toward a student's reading skill at classroom. The research wants to find out the strategies of vocabulary learning and their reading skill. Through this theoretical framework, it can be understood that this research is to investigate the correlation of student vocabulary learning strategies and their reading skill at Junior High School, One Bayang, South Pesisir. Okay, this is my presentation. Thank you for attention and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.